Hello and welcome back everybody. This week's chapter of Black Clover was actually very enjoyable in my opinion. We got some really nice information and some development on certain characters, we gotta find out more about the two captains in certain ways that I don't think we knew in the past, well at least some of it. But firstly I want to talk about the whole raid, because at the beginning we obviously have this whole preparation of how they're gonna get in when we see this whole rock model magic of the base that they're going to infiltrate with all of these entrances. And Mereoleona, she's just saying, oh, we can get in from all kinds of places. And then when they actually begin the raid, we see this whole hostage situation with a girl and some member of the enemy side. I don't think we've ever seen him before, and he gets pretty much fodderized by Luck anyway, as Luck just comes flashing through the wall and just obliterates him. And the reasoning behind Luck's flashing through the walls is because Mereoleona says that, I don't care how you get through this fucking raid, just win, do not lose, that's all that matters. So Mereoleona doesn't really care too much about strategy, she's all about victory and power. If you're strong and you can win, then you are of high value to her. Speaking of Mereoleona, actually, there's one other thing that I want to talk about which really made her rise in quality for me personally, and that is when Asta asked Zora if he was also a commoner. And then you see Mereoleona, she's just telling him, I don't care what your social status is as long as you're strong and not weak. That is all that matters to me. So we got some really solid evidence that points to her being one of the better royals in my opinion, because a lot of the royals in Black Clover, they are stuck up with their social status. If a commoner comes near them, they will actually kind of keep their distance, because according to them, they're above them in every single sense. But Mereoleona really doesn't seem to have this trait. She doesn't care at all, as long as you can provide results, she will put some value in you. And Asta obviously has that quality, and so does Zora, so they're going to be of high value to Mereoleona, despite the fact that they may have some social issues. Asta and Zora, they don't really get along too well, and that's why Mereoleona kind of said that, oh, you two are coming along with me, because she knows that they are going to be an issue if they are left unchecked. Not in the sense of fighting, of course, but they will be fighting each other, they will be bad-mouthing each other all the time, and she needs to make sure that they keep focus on the mission at hand. So as I said, Mereoleona, her quality as a character really just skyrocketed for me, and she's probably my favorite character right now. I don't really care if she dies at some point, she's probably gonna remain my favorite character for a very long time. And speaking of captains, there's also this moment with Nozel which I really liked. Well, it's also about Mereoleona as well, but so we have this moment where, they're kind of just blitzing through the raid, and Asta and Zora are behind Mereoleona as they are just kind of trashing the place, and they're asking, are we even needed? And the interesting moment is when Mereoleona and Nozel is telling these villains that, you're going to be sorry for what you did to Fugileon, because Fugileon is Nozel's rival and he is Mereoleona's brother. Mereoleona is just never going to forgive them for what they did to her brother, because I think they took off an arm of him and he's like in a coma or something, which means that he's not really of any good use right now. I mean, he's going to be eventually when he recovers, of course, but until then, Mereoleona is having to take up his mantle, be the captain, and she probably hates these villains because of that. Not because she has to be a captain, but because of what they did to her brother. I mean, anyone would be mad for what they did to your brother, right? I mean, if someone were to hurt your sibling to such extent, which we experienced in that arc, you'd be mad and you would do anything to avenge him. In Nozel's case, it's more of a rivalry question, because he and Fugileon are rivals. They would do anything to compete, and now they can't really compete anymore, so Nozel is obviously really bummed out, and he will make sure that these guys pay because of what they did. They kind of ruined their whole rivalry at this moment. I mean, like I said, he's going to recover eventually, so they are probably going to be able to resume their whole rivalry at some point, but until then, they just cannot do that. And there's no telling, is he going to be at full strength when he recovers, because he did lose an arm and all of that, so he might not be at full power anymore. I mean, he could be, just losing an arm doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to become weak. Now, the last thing that I would like to talk about is, of course, the boss of the villains in this arc, because he kind of appeared at the very end, the guy with the eye in the forehead. I think his name is Rivalry, if my memory serves me right, and I don't really remember his power. I think he has imitation magic. I remember my friends were talking about this earlier and they mentioned something about that, but I don't really recall it, I'm gonna be honest. So we might see him go up against the captains, because obviously the others are probably not going to be of any match against this guy, and the captains will most likely have trouble, because if we remember correctly, we had the whole situation where the captains did go up against these guys before and they kind of retreated. So obviously these guys are at the level of captains, meaning that even Nozel and maybe Mereoleona, they're probably not going to be dealing with this guy that easily, because he's now apparently awakened his eye in the forehead, which means he has some extra power, I think. I'm not too invested in this series, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And yeah, we might be seeing some captain taking a huge L very soon. I kind of hope it's Nozel, given that he has very much pride of being a royal right now. So having him take a huge L like that, it would really kind of add to his character, I think. Like, he might get some character development through that, because I don't really think he's going to die. I don't think either of them is going to die, to be honest, because they're captains. Like, I just don't see it, you know. Especially not Nozel. Like, he's built up to be this whole sort of milestone for Noel. You know, Noel and him have very much history together, so I don't really see him dying against this man. And if he does, it's going to be after we see some big moment between him and Noel. At least that's my guess. But yeah, that's really all I had to say about this chapter. Not really much else to talk about, in my opinion. Like, it was a good chapter, not the best we've had in the whole series or anything, but it is very good, you know. I really like the approach of this chapter, and I hope we see chapters of the same quality or even higher, you know, in this arc, because this arc has great potential and it is promising given the path that it seems to be going in. With that said, I think I'll be ending this video here, so let me know what you think down below in the comments. And as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I will see you next time.